So my last question is nowadays, if you look at kids in their schools, right, 10th, 12th, or in their colleges, the early the graduation or the engineering or that kind of education system, if we talk about uh, with AI coming in, with Gen AI coming in, the kind of assignments people are used to do and learn from is now automated, right? You ask ChatGPT and it gives you 5 different versions and you keep refining it. Your answer is probably the best ever. Huh? So what is your advice that how should they go about planning their career? Because they have good 3-4 decades of career, whether it in startup or in jobs. How should they think about it now?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. And by the way, a tough question to answer, right? Because yes, with generative AI, the world changes quite a bit. How does, as a student, how do you change what you do? I think my sense is there is going to be a bifurcation in how learning happens. And the bifurcation will be in terms of majority of subjects that you're not going to be a specialist in. You will be taking a lot of help from, large language models to get your answers. So you will learn how to use AI to get good answers. So it's not going to be that AI is going to give you the answer, because the answer that AI is going to give you is going to become the base, which
Hmm.
everybody has. Right? So the learning will be now, how do I improve it? Which means not only learning how to use AI, but also knowing what's good outcome from AI versus what's bad outcome, right? So you can't, if you don't know what is good and what is bad, what are the characteristics of a good essay versus characteristics of a bad essay, you don't know that what I've got from AI is good or bad. So there is going to be a lot of more abstract learning in that. I think that will be in the areas where you're not specializing. But in the areas where you are going to specialize, you will still have to go back and learn the basics, because till you don't understand the basics, it is very difficult to conceptually understand what is going on, right? So we talked about economics, right? When I was a PhD student at that time, also you could do a regression on, SAS used to be the big thing at that time. SAS would just run it for you, SPSS would just run it for you. But we still had to go and do all the matrix algebra that is required for multivariate regression, because without that, you could not understand what is collinearity, how does it work, why do you get the response that you get. So you had to, because once you do all of that, that is when you can innovate, that is when you can make it better in that particular field. So I think that is what will happen, is that in some areas we will learn the concepts will be still very important, but how to use those concepts to get a better outcome from AI. And some one or two areas will go really deep, we'll do the kind of learning that we still do in those areas. And I think it'll be a combination of the two. That's kind of my uneducated guess, if I might call it, about what will happen to learning going forward.
It makes sense. If I think about it, right? What remains same 30 years ago versus 20 years ago versus today is problem solving. The problems will still have to be solved by somebody using whatever tech they want to use. That problem solving ability comes from the basic, as you mentioned. You need to go back to basics, learn the concepts, and be able to figure out new solutions. Otherwise, sales is just about revenue, cost, and profits, right? But still, there are different variables at play. So problem solving is probably something that is going to take prime seat now, and it has always been like that, isn't it? When you go to McKinsey interviews, they ask you to solve problems, case studies. Now you have
Yeah.
more tools. It's not like an advanced calculator on language versus numbers.
Yeah. In fact, if you had asked me the question of what did I learn the most at my PhD, that's what I learned, which is I learned how to take a very, vaguely defined problem, structure it, come up with certain hypotheses, test those hypotheses with data, and get to a solution. And right, so this is what, for example, as you do as a consultant, McKinsey. This is what you do as a startup founder. You are solving problems But if you don't have that structure or that, those tools of how to solve problems, how to take a big problem, for example, break it into smaller pieces, then for each of those smaller pieces, how to solve them and how to bring those solutions together and solve the big problem, right? That's a skill that you can have any kind of tools, and you still will need that. And those things come from, when you, for example, when you learn math, while yes, you do learn how to differentiate an equation, how to integrate an equation and things like that, but you're also learning structural skills, which become very helpful in your day-to-day job where there is no mathematics involved, but you still have to, I have a problem with my HR team or with my team. How do I figure out what is going on and how do I make that into an HR problem versus versus a sales problem versus something else? Those skills become very helpful. And this is where we will have to develop those skills. We'll have to, maybe the focus will become more on developing those skills in colleges and undergraduate than it is today.
Yeah, so basically college can probably skip a part of curriculum and straight away go to the next level, because if you look at the curriculum, some of them are lagging and still not adopted to probably what should be the baseline today in terms of engineering or B schools. Right, absolutely, makes sense. So thank you so much, Anil. It was great talking to you as usual, and it means a lot. You took out time to feature on Revenue Beacon with Prashant. I'm sure folks who watch this will learn many things, not just about the AI, the data, but also about the importance of brand, how to go about creating a company, how to go about winning the clients, how to change the way problems are perceived, and then going to solve those problems, right? So thank you so much, Anil. Lovely talking to you.
Thank you, Prashant, as well. Always enjoy speaking with you. And, this conversation, of course, has been enjoyable as always. So thank you. And I wish you best of luck going forward.
Thank you so much, Anil.